Hi guys, welcome back to the Knife Edge UK YouTube channel. I'm here today to bring you another custom. This is a French custom from Guy Poggetti or Guy Poggetti, Guy Poggetti, depends on where you're from and how you pronounce it. I'm sorry, Guy, if I'm not doing your name any justice here whatsoever. So this is a slightly old knife. This is from a few years ago. This is a Skagway. But the knife has slightly changed a little bit in further iterations, and these being completely handmade customs, they do vary slightly. Anyway, enough throat clearing. Let's get on with a few size comparisons to this one specifically, because this is more of an overview than it is an actual review. So this is a large Sebenza 21, still the best version of the Sebenza in my mind. The Hindra Jurassic, a Herman Knives Vespetilio. What else can we put there? A small, or rather a 3-inch Gareth Bull Shamwari. You see it's a little bit bigger than the Shamwari and a lot more beefy in the hand, as you can probably imagine. And then if we just pull out a couple of other sort of high-end French customs, just as a kind of benchmark. There it is next to the new Hardy by Remy Lavielle, one of my favourite knives ever. There's another video of that on the channel if you want to go and have a look, going over the whole model. And what else should we put it next to? And a large spear tack from Grind Tactical. Okay, so that gives you an idea, and I will, just before we're done, sorry, excuse the arm, just before we're done, I'll throw a ruler in there as well to give you a general point of reference. Okay, so Guy Poggetti, one of a bit of a sort of superstar in some ways of French custom knife making. His knives have a really unique aesthetic, and speaking as someone who's had a few through my hands now, they're quite unique as well. It is a unique aesthetic, but it's not just that. They have quite an unusual handmade kind of vibe about them, and a couple have been through my hands and they have moved on. They don't always quite work for me visually, but this one really does, and this is the one that I've kept around, and it's because this, you can see that Guy Poggetti's logo is this sort of almost cave painting like image, which I really like, and then this has got a really stunning differential hardened line hammer on the blade, which is just really beautiful and very unique. And then it's got stag antler, and overall it just gives it this really sort of cool kind of paleo custom kind of vibe about it, which I just really like. It's got a very classic drop point blade. It's obviously a carbon steel blade. I forget off the top of my head what the blade steel is, so forgive me for that. It's got a beautiful hammer, like I've already touched on. It's ultra thin, and this is one of the things that Guy tends to do, which really a lot of the French makers do, but I think he's one of the better for getting a really thin grind, and this one is wafer thin at the edge. This is a fantastic slicer. The blade isn't too thick. You can see the swedges are making it kind of hard to see, but it just overall, it's a largely full flat grind up to the swedge with this fantastic cutting geometry. If you wanted to use this every day, it's fantastic. The scales are, as I say, stag antler, really nicely finished. They chamfer directly into the edges of the titanium liners on the handle, which is really nicely done. It's everything on the knife is obviously handmade, and not in a negative way. It's just worth remembering it doesn't have that kind of CNC kind of precision thing, and it's not really trying to. All of these lines are very, I mean, they're well within acceptable grounds of being the same, but they're not quite the same. They're just close to the same, and it gives it a really handmade yet quite refined feel. It runs on bearings, and the action is very good. So front flipper, as you've probably already worked out. It looks largely, when you look at it like that, like a small fixed blade, which is something that, again, a lot of the French makers, but particularly Guy, do very well. Guy do very well. The action, as I say, is very good. This has got no blade play whatsoever, and it's largely dropping shut with a little assistance. Very controlled, ultra smooth, perfectly centered on this one, and just really nicely done. Everything's done really well, and everything's polished and refined really nicely. The backspacer is a piece of unidirectional or side cut carbon fibre. Almost all of them that I've seen have had this sort of backspacer. I think occasionally he'll do carbon fibre ones with like carbon fibre covers with carbon fibre matching to the covers if they're a different sort of CF. Lock up is really nice, as you can see. It's quite early, not too early. There's no blade play, no lock rock, no nothing. Really well done. A little bit of lock bar relief on this liner lock. It's quite a thin liner lock. It certainly feels secure enough, and you're not going to be using this knife for anything really heavy duty with an edge that thin and refined. It's just really nice. Ergonomically, this model, and I think this is where we can talk a little bit about what's changed with some of the other ones. There's a slight... He's done the Skagway blade and a couple of other things. The swedge has changed slightly. On the most recent ones that I've seen, the swedge kind of ends and has kind of a slight hump. I really like the way this is kind of like a very classic, completely flowing straight line down the whole thing. I really appreciate that. It just works for me visually. And overall, I think the knife is just very, very well balanced to look at. In the hand, up in this forward choil, it's perfection. Back here, it's perfection. It just feels really comfortable. The back of the spine is made slightly smaller because of this. That's relatively hard-edged compared to some, so bearing down on it you would feel it, but it's not uncomfortable. Back, it's fantastic in a hammer grip, works quite well in a pinch grip as well. Overall, just a really, really well-balanced design. So there you go. That's just a quick look at a Guy Poggetti Skagway. Give you an idea of how this sort of model from him looks, and I'm not sure if he's taking orders at the moment, but I'll put a link to his Instagram if you want to drop him a message and see what's going on. He's a really interesting and very unique maker. Thanks very much, guys. Catch you soon. Bye.